Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now February 16th of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans around the world have been very curious about what could have been before the reshoots and the rewrites of this movie by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this movie was a very tough production for Disney and Lucasfilm to go through. Kathleen Kennedy talked about this, J.J. Abrams, Mary Ann Brandon, Bob Iger, and more stated that this movie was by far the most difficult Star Wars movie to develop apart from the 4 other Star Wars films that came before this one. Now, on top of all this, we also know that this movie initially was going to be 4 hours and 20-something minutes long in length when they had all the scenes bundled up together. Of course, they were not going to unveil a 4-hour-plus movie, but that's how much, worth of screen time of the characters all put together were, of course, from all the scenes that were filmed. Now, when we examine the character of Emperor Palpatine, we do know that this was all an idea by Kathleen Kennedy in order to draw in the fans and to really build up the hype for The Rise of Skywalker over at Star Wars Celebration of 2019 back in April of last year, which really was a big Star Wars celebration given that when we heard the laughter of Palpatine, it really caused the crowd to really go wild and crazy. Now, with that being said, it led to a lot of series of deleted scenes when they had to adjust this movie, and what's really intriguing is that now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are done with the Skywalker saga, they are focused on the new Star Wars universe, also known as the new expanded universe of Star Wars for the fandom moving forward for the new material throughout this decade. However, many fans have been wondering about what could have been before the reshoots and the rewrites of the film by Disney and Lucasfilm. Now, during the adjustments of the movie, this led to a series of deleted scenes by Disney due to Kathleen Kennedy, where one of the sequences that were deleted involved the full resurrection of Darth Sidious/Palpatine in the form of a flashback that was supposed to play over a narration by Palpatine talking to Kylo Ren in the beginning of the movie. Originally, the flashback was going to begin just after Palpatine would say the dark side of the Force is a power some consider to be unnatural, where it's explained that the original scene was going to show Palpatine entering the world of Exegol through a wormhole after he created on the second Death Star, whereby using such a power would have killed Palpatine right then and there. It's noted that the scene would then progress to a sequence in which Palpatine would be lifted by a dozen or so Sith loyalists on Exegol and carrying his corpse to the lab within the shrines of the Sith location and actually hooking him up to the crane machine, where it's noted that originally the spirits of the Sith would be actually seen entering into Palpatine's corpse, bringing his corpse back to life and communicating for the first time since his death from using this power. Now, the scene would have actually included Palpatine in a brand new outfit or costume for this segment that would show us his full resurrection from the Sith loyalists in front of the Sith Eternal crowd. So, the thing about Palpatine is that this was the big, vital segment that was missing from the movie, and Mary Ann Brandon, the editor of the film, even loosely, lightly talked about this behind the scenes for Episode 9, is that they had scenes mapped out for this and ultimately canceled them because they wanted to keep it very mysterious and that they didn't really think it really needed an answer. Now, to me, it really does line up with all the actors in their interviews stating that Palpatine does in fact return, but it's not like it's, not explained. Everyone kept saying that. All the actors and the actresses kept saying that it's going to be explained in The Rise of Skywalker, he's not just going to appear. And that's exactly what happened in The Rise of Skywalker. So, this particular deleted scene, I think, would have been very rich in material. It would have shown us exactly how Palpatine survived by use of that wormhole that he creates at the very end of Return of the Jedi, explaining exactly what that blue energy spiraling out of the, that little pathway that leads down to the reactor of the second Death Star. It would have explained exactly what that energy really was. And to me, it would have also played a nice little connection to the Worlds Between Worlds episode from Star Wars Rebels, where we do see Palpatine using a very similar power to just that. Now, the Sith loyalists actually bringing Palpatine back to life by hooking him up to that crane machine and having the spirits of the Sith entering into his corpse would have also been quite something. Now, obviously, they want to make that canon. They want to make Sith Wraiths a thing under the Disney canon. And the fact that they were going to give us this particular scene would have really actually changed the way that we looked at the character of Sidious. I think that this would have been a more proper way of bringing back Palpatine, because if you look at the finalized version of the movie, it really does leave a lot of fans in the dark, wondering as to how in the world did Palpatine come back to life. You know, I think that the fact that they deleted this scene was a big mistake. I think that what they should have done at the very minimum is that Palpatine could have described how he survived in the form of dialogue. The main reason as to why they wanted to avoid this is that they wanted to avoid it being cartoony. Now, in my personal opinion, I think you can avoid it from being cartoony as long as you execute it very well and keep it very brief. That would have been the best way to do it. So, anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon.